Got them to raise up. And that's how we'll start today. Another decent eater-sized gill. Welcome back, everybody. So I've been out fishing for a couple hours now and been catching a fair amount of these. So we're shooting for a limit. We'll be doing a little bit of a catch and cook. Today has been interesting. So we've had we've had instances the past couple times that we've gone out of insane bite windows, and today's wild in a completely different way. So these fish are relating extremely close to the weed edge, and in a direct straight line in front of me is this weed edge. It does vary a little bit, but if you are not within 3 feet of this weed edge, there's absolutely nothing. There's no fish. They don't come out there. If you go too far into the weeds, they don't bite, and they can't find your bait as well in there either. So it is literally relating to this weed edge as tight as we possibly can, and we've been catching some really decent gills out of it. So we'll keep doing that. Hopefully we end up with a limit, and we'll be doing a catch and cook later, but we're about halfway to our limit right now. Got a couple hours before dark, and we'll see what happens. We do have a couple tip-ups out in case we do catch some bass or pike, but let's just wait and see if we can't get some more good ones. That's a small one. That's a small one. Another one down there, though. They came in as a pair, so looked much bigger initially. Come on, buddy. Rip some of our paint off. Oh, there's a better one. Could you get down to him real quick? Oh, yeah. One is that. Yep, he's gonna bite. That's a small one, too. Almost a keeper. That was probably 6.5. All the ones that we've kept are 7 3/4 to right around 8 inches, so good keeper size. But I'm waiting for a flag to go up after watching that pike roll through. There's another one. Doesn't look real big. Nope. Same size as the last. I don't know how many we've caught. At this point in time, it's got to be close to 20. Oh, that one looks a little bit better. The best way to get them to bite today, and this isn't every day, but it's to slowly bring it up and not give them too much time to look at it. Slowly raise, and usually they'll bite. Get him. Oh, that's a small one. There's a bigger one in there. Can we get you unhooked real quick? That one's definitely, I don't know if that might be a bass. That one, nope, not a keeper. Looked like it could have been close. Nope, not a big one either. There are some big ones that come in, but they are super leery, which was not the case earlier. Got him. That might be a keeper. Oh, well, perch. Not a keeper perch. Thought he was a very big gill. Oh, not gonna let me lip ya. There we go. Little guy. Probably. So I haven't really talked about what I'm using today, but I'm using a little tungsten jig head, Wonder Bread colored, and then a little silky. They're made by Clam. They're basically like a fibrous material with a little ball that you can go ahead and put the hook through, and in the water it does a phenomenal job of giving action to your bait with hardly any sort of movement. And then I'm tipping this guy with a little waxy. You don't always have to tip them with stuff, but typically seems to get more bites than just leaving it as is. But if those fish are super aggressive, there have been plenty of times where I won't tip it with anything, and then you don't have to worry about trying to rebait and all that stuff. But, and these silkies I love for a number of different reasons. It works really well because it does make the bait have a little bit bigger profile, looks a little bit bigger. But when fish are really light biting and skittish, it does a great job, like finesse wise, because you do not have to move that bait hardly at all. I mean, in all honesty, it probably moves a little bit by itself, just kind of in the water with resistance and whatnot. So finesse fishing, or skittish fishing, it does great for, and also for when you're trying to put a little bit bigger presentation to catch some bigger fish. Works for both those ways. Go. Oh, little guy. There's a better one down there. See if I can't get you off real quick. Get this one down there. Oh, he's gonna eat for sure. Keeper? Nope. Almost. They're starting to get pretty finicky, so I had to downsize to what I like to do most with finesse for ice fishing is switch on over from tungsten to either steel or lead. It falls so much slower that you can get a lot more of those fish to bite, but it's difficult to do in deep water or when there's a lot of wind, because even the wind isn't enough. Oh, that's a fish we want. That is definitely a keeper bluegill. Oh, it left. But yeah, the lighter weights definitely can get some of those more skittish fish to bite. That one's not the one we were looking at, but we'll take him. Get him, little one. Looked bigger on screen, for sure. Oh. There we go. Yeah, just this tiny, tiny little piece of lead falls so much slower. And I wouldn't recommend doing this in anything deeper than 10 feet because it takes so long to get down there. But if it's the only thing they'll bite on, you gotta use what you can use. Got him. That might be a keeper. Nope. He's close. He is close. If we weren't keeping already, no, we'll let him go. He's probably just a half inch shy. That one was on the verge. He's lucky. Survive another day. Got him. You big enough? Oh. We'll count him. He is right on the edge too, but he's probably right at 7 inches. we'll measure him. If he's over 7 1/4, we'll keep him. He is bigger than I thought. 7 1/2. We'll keep him. He looked like a small 7 1/2. All right, so we ended up with a little bit over half a limit. We didn't have any fish on flags, which is kind of weird seeing how many small bass and small pike that we saw around the area, but is what it is. It was just so wild how extreme the fish were relating to just a tiny, tiny little weed line, and the difference of a foot mattered a ton. But that's what we got, and let's go ahead, get home, fillet them up, and cook. All right, and now we just have to go ahead and fillet up, and boom. And I wish it was really that quick to go ahead and fillet fish, but let's get cooking. So one thing I do like to do is put hot sauce and marinate my fish in it. One, it'll add just a tiny, tiny little bit of heat. I mean, barely anything. But on top of that, if you're making some fish for people who don't really like fish, don't like the fishy taste, this will do a pretty good job of covering that up if there is any. So go ahead and put just a little bit in there. That should be about enough. And let that marinate. And while that also allows breading to stick to it a lot better too. And we're just going to use some seasoned flour. So go ahead and transfer this from one bag to another once we let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. But while we wait, we will go ahead and make the easiest tartar sauce that you've probably ever made. And it is way, way better than what comes in the store. So it's incredibly simple, just a couple ingredients. I would highly recommend making your own. So let's get into that. All right, and this is all you need for the easiest tartar sauce you'll probably ever make. You most certainly can go a little bit more fancy and start adding additional things to it. But for, what do we got, 4 ingredients? I don't know that there's a better one that you could make. So basically, I'm only making a couple fish sandwiches, so I don't need a ton. So our measurements are pretty eyeballed, but I always use Japanese mayonnaise. If you've never tried Japanese mayonnaise, I would highly recommend it. Way better than the mayonnaise that we have. It's a lot less sweet and more savory. So we'll add a little bit of that. That should be plenty for 2 sandwiches. It's probably a little bit under 1/4 cup, something like that. And we'll go ahead and chop some dill, pickles, and we'll give a little squeeze of a lemon, and that's all there is to it. And if you don't have a lemon, to make it even easier, or you don't want to go buy, a pack of lemons, you can most certainly go ahead and use just a tiny bit of that pickle juice too. That'll work. Not quite as well, but it'll still work. All right, let's get everything chopped up and added together, and that'll be it. All right, got everything chopped up. Now we can just go ahead and mix it all together. Throw in our dill, throw in our pickles. I do like pickles a lot, so definitely don't need to put this many in there if you don't want to. And then we'll go ahead and just give a little squeeze of a lemon, not too much, just to kind of thin it out, make it a little bit more sauce-like. And there we go. And obviously you can do this to taste. That is perfect. You can go ahead and put in some salt, pepper. We'll probably do a little bit of pepper. You do have some added salt to it already from the pickles and whatnot, but you can go ahead and put some more salt in there if you need to. Another thing that can add salt and is great too is if you want to add capers, but obviously that's making it a lot more complicated and adding extra expense. But if you have them on hand, it's not a bad idea. So now we will go ahead and bread our fish and get frying. All right, we don't have very much fish, so we should be able to do this in one fell swoop. I've just got some shore lunch in here. What is your guys' favorite type of batter? I'm interested in trying some new ones. There's you know, if you go to a Walmart or something like that, there's not a ton of different options. So might end up having to buy some online to try some different ones out. But we'll go ahead and transfer all that into our flour. A lot of times I use just seasoned flour too, but for the ease of this, shake it all around. Looks good. And throw the other half in there too. And that should be plenty. Alright, let's get our oil going. And we're not using oil. One thing I do like using a lot too, if you guys have never tried it, is Wagyu tallow. It's not insanely expensive. I thought it would be just because Wagyu usually is. But you can buy a pretty big jar or a container of Wagyu tallow and it lasts for quite a while. So I'll show you guys that and then we'll get to frying. So this is the Wagyu tallow that I use, and it is phenomenal when you're frying much of anything. It tastes so much better than a lot of your seed oils and stuff like that, vegetable oils. So if you have the opportunity to buy this, I think I bought this actually on Amazon, but I would absolutely recommend this too. Phenomenal stuff. So we'll go ahead and take some of this, throw it in a pan, and then should be ready to go. Alright, now we just lay down our pieces. We don't have a ton of fish again, so it shouldn't take too many runs of this. Can't get 5 pieces per. 5 might be overcrowding, but there you go. Let it fry up for a couple minutes. So that's what our fish looks like. It looks pretty decent, especially for the amount of bluegill that we got. And now we just have to assemble. So we'll go ahead and put that. We toasted some brioche bread with some butter too, just make things a little bit better. We'll put 3, 4 pieces. These bluegill aren't real thick, so we'll go ahead and put that on. We'll add a little bit of our homemade tartar sauce on top. Just a little bit. That'll be fine. And then we'll top with a little bit of iceberg lettuce. And then throw some more of that tartar sauce on top. And that is a phenomenal, phenomenal fish sandwich. So good. So good. Well, that's it for today. Hope everybody liked the catch and cook. If you want me to do more catch and cooks, by all means let me know down below. But if you like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and as always, if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till next one.